is just by doing the Shrutivakya Samanvaya of Sanskrit Veda, he went in further to achieve the Aikya Shastra between Dravida and Sanskrit Vedanta. A quote from the a text called the Ubhaya Vedanta. This is called the Ubhaya Vedanta, Dravida and Sanskrit Vedanta, bring in the Aikya. A small padya from Achan Pillai. Pura Sutre Vyasah Shruti Shata Shirottam Pratitavan Vivivretam Shravyam Vakuladarata Medyasa Punaha Ubayeto Granto Gatayito Alam Yukti Biraso Punarjagre Rama Varaja iti Sab Brahma Mukuraha. In fact, what he says is, as Shrutis were compiled as a garland in the Brahma Sutras by Veda Vyasa, Shruti Shata Shirottam Gatitavan. It was in Sanskrit and was not Sushravyam, it was very terse. Everything was based on Nyaya and logic. Vyasa again was born as Nammalvar, Vivavretam Shravyam Vakula Dharata Medyasa Punaha, delivered the tenets of Upanishad very suspashtam in his Tiruvazhmozhi or the Dravidian verses. Shravye Vivavre. So he explained in lucid Tamil, Ubayeto Grantam Gatayitum Alam. In bringing a samanvaya between these two texts or the Ubhaya Vedanta came Ramanuja, Parabrahma Mukaraha. This is the exclusively avatara of Ramanuja to deliver the samanvaya between these two texts was the essence, though the Shrutivakya samanvaya was a manifold achievement. So the doctrine of Ubhaya Vedanta is to be discussed in our philosophy or the religion. So to conclude a line I have drafted in Sanskrit to conclude the Bhakti Siddhanta, we call it. What is the purport of Vishishtadvaita or the Bhakti Siddhanta or the Sri Vaishnava religion is Jnana Bhyudayat Asankeya Kalyana Gunaganasya Tasya Parama Purushasya Atra Anubhavaha Bhaktihi Tatavida Nitya Vaikunte Bhagavat Anubhavaha Nishreyasam. Nishreyasam is moksha. Iti Sarvam Samanjasam. So, this hope I have done justice in the time allotted, though I have taken a few minutes, extended a few minutes. With apologies, I conclude. Thank you all for the patient listening. Srimati Ramanuja.
Samanvaya, the methodology and the philosophy of Sri Ramanuja, although we should not stop any scholar, but we have to respect time also. Now the paper is in front of you. Please ask your questions. And very precise and related to this topic only. Thank you.
And after Vishishtadvaita came Dvaita.
No, it's not so. These are all Anadi Sampradayas. These darshanas have been existing. Even in fact, Ramanuja Vishishtadvaita itself, it was coined the name Vishishtadvaita subsequently by Shruta Prakashika Bhatta. So actually it is never used. Shariraka Mimamsa Bhashye is what Ramanuja quotes in his Sri Bhashya. Nowhere has he used Vishishtadvaita. These philosophies were existing from Anadikala. Yeah. It was just refined and re-established. Even Dvaita, for that matter, or Sankhya. All these were, Dvaita doesn't mean it was only by Ananda Tirtha. He again re-established Dvaita.
Why I'm saying this is because in the Sri Bhashya, Swami Ramanuja refers to different authors before him, Tanka, Dravida, Guhadeva, and all of them. Whereas we are not able to see those kind of references either in Shankara Bhashya or in Madhvacharya's Bhashya. So that's why I thought
these passages, the Veda Vakyas, are there eternally.
Yeah, Vakyas are there eternally.
Vakyas are there. I'm calling it as Dvaitins because I belong to this age, you belong to this age, so I can as well refer this to as Dvaita Bhashya. So Dvaita came during the days of, was re-established in Kali Yuga during the days of Ananda Tirtha, Madhvacharya.
Yeah, is there any reference in Dvaita Bhashya to any previous authors? Or
I'm not too sure. I'm not fully gone through the Dvaita Bhashya, but I have gone through a Bhashya called Sudha, which is from Raghavendra Swami. It's again a Brahma Sutra Bhashya, which came subsequently 350 years ago, which is totally a Kandana to the Ramanuja Bhashya. So it keeps happening, it keeps coming.
Not equal to Gada, but after Gada is combined with God, it will also become mud. So we can say Andal, see, show the way how to mingle with Paramatma. Then that is the...
That avastha can return again.
What is the reason, what is the difference between this?
Between what?
Andal show the way, and see we merge with so Paramatma. So then they both become one is, both are different.
Here,
Quantity, what is it?
Mritpindaha transforms into a pot.
Ah.
So there is two ways of defining this. It becomes a pot. I told you about the water being carried. So what happens? You consider it becomes more like a pot. The gaunartha and the literal meaning both has to be taken. So if you take identicalness or I have distinction, both can be conveyed with the same example. But only thing is you have to apply Shariratma Bhava when you take identicalness. That is how Ramanuja establishes. Without Shariratma Bhava, that is what the Gataka Shrutis are talking about. So he mentioned Gataka Shrutis as the source of knowledge, Yeah, thank you so much.
Now I would like to invite Professor Godavrish Mishraji, who will speak, who is the chairman of School of Philosophy and Religious through thou at the University of Madras, formerly worked as an editor of the Kuppuswamy Shastri Research Institute, Mylapore, Chennai. He also served as member secretary of Indian Council of Philosophical Research, New Delhi. His publications include Anubhuti Prakash of Vidyaranya Swami in 1992 and Shishtadvaita in Dialectics and Philosophy from Bhagavat Ramanuja to Ramanujacharya. Professor Mishraji.
तवामृता शंदिनी पाद पंकजे निवेशितात्मा कथमन्यदीक्षति स्थितेरविंदे मकरंद निर्भरे मधुव्रतो नैक्षुरकम हि वीक्षते. With this prayer from Yamuna, I would like to present for next 30 minutes a history of 1000 years. And my paper is historical, it's not philosophical, because just I wanted to, what I have done is try to see the tradition in my own prism. What has been happening in all these years? Friends, as I mentioned in my welcome speech, I hold the view that there is a continuity from Upanishads till date in some way in India as far as the tradition of philosophizing is concerned. I would like to put forth before you a question which needs to be researched, and that is, I would like to ask myself and as well as you, whether Shankara was reacting to Buddha or reacting to the post-Gautama Buddhists, number one. Number two, whether Ramanuja was reacting to and refuting the views of Shankara or post-Shankara Advaitins. This is very something which we need to look into, because many places we can find Ramanuja and Shankara go hand in hand. And many theories, philosophizing, we find Buddha and Shankara have the same view. So, this is what needs to be looked into, and in saying so, I would like to say that there is an unseen continuity, though at the a deeper level continuity, though in the surface level there is a difference of, visible difference of opinion. As I want to present before you, definitely after Shankara, it is Bhagavat Ramanuja who was the most celebrated personality in Indian schools of philosophy. I would say that following the footsteps of Shankara and with a view to offer fresh and different interpretation of the Prasthanatraya, Ramanuja authored Navaratnas, 9 verses, and his magnum opus being Sri Bhashya, which was modeled on earlier Bhashyas and was aimed at the refutation of the philosophical claims made in the Brahma Sutra Bhashya of Shankara. I would like to say, just now somebody asked a question whether Shankara refers to other preceptors of Vedanta. He does. In many places he does. Even Vedavyasa himself does. Sutagara does. So he continues that parampara, and Shankara is very particular about this Sampradaya concept, which Ramanuja takes from him. The Sampradaya, he says, Asampradaya with Bahushastra Vidopi Trunavat Upekshaniyaha. A person who does not know the tradition, he need not be taken seriously. So, in addition to what Shankara did in working out the Prasthanatrayi as an Acharya, what Ramanuja does is to establish the institutions in his own way for the people to have interaction with the temples, shrines, matas and the like. Many things he has done. I would just come back to those things in due course of my presentation. Next one. So, and we have already seen, Dr. Narasimhan has told, Ramanuja refers to all these people, Bodhayana, Tanka, Dramida, Guhadeva, Kapardi, Bharuchi, and also his teacher, Yadava Prakasa, whose works have been quoted in Vedartha Sangraha and Srivasya. This Dravidacharya is a very, the peculiar scholar who is being taken, pardon, Professor? Who is being quoted by Shankara as well as Ramanuja. There is a vast gamut of post-Ramanuja Visishtadvaitins who took forward the works commenced by Sri Ramanuja with Vishnu-centric philosophy, that is Visishtadvaita. The major contributors to this tradition are Sudarsana Suri, Atreya Ramanuja, Pillai Lokacharya, Vedanta Deshika, Ranga Ramanuja, Srinivasa Dasa. I will come to these people in due course of my presentation. Yadava Prakasa, as you know, the very basic why Ramanuja was prompted to write a bhashya that would not be simple Veda is because of his difference of opinion with Yadava Prakasa. A Vedavadin was of the view that Brahman, Jiva and Jagat are all real and yet they are identical with and different from each other. He also held the view that Brahman transforms into world Brahma Parinamavada and yet can remain perfect and pure. Ramanuja had difficulty in accepting this view. He drew inspiration from Yamuna and designed the system based on Shruti and Agamas. In Visishtadvaita, Brahman is the same as personal God and the Jiva and Jagat are both real. The relation between God and man is that of body and soul. Yesterday I was asking a question to Professor Ramprasad Chakravarti whether there is an ontological difference in these three things that has been presented in Srivasya. Vidheyatva, Adheyatva and Sheshitva. I would view that there is one. You may differ from me, but I have this view, I hold this view. The relation between God and man is that of body and soul, Dehatma Bhava. The body may undergo transformation, but the soul remains the same without undergoing any change whatsoever. Now, the entire literature of Visishtadvaita, next one please. The entire literature of Visishtadvaita can be divided into three types on the basis of the source material that have provided inspiration for the school to develop its philosophical edifice. That is Vedic, Agamic and Prabandhik, or Shruti Parampara, Agama Parampara and Ubhaya Vedanta Parampara. So thus, in the post-Ramanuja period, next one, the Agamic tradition of Pancharatra that was treated by Shankara as a non-Vedic became the source book for Sri Vaishnava practice and philosophy. While commenting on the sutra, Viprati Sedhacha, yesterday somebody was referring to it, Shankara says, Veda Viprati Sedhacha Bhavati, Chatursu Vedesu Param Sreyo Alabdhva, Sandilyo Idam Shastram Adhigatam iti Veda Ninda Darsanat. This is what Shankara says. He doesn't accept Pancharatra. Ramanuja corroborates the teaching of the Upanishads with that of Divya Prabandham of the Alvars in vernacular Tamil by drawing ideas which gave rise to the tradition of Ubhaya Vedanta in Sri Vaishnavism. However, the target audience of Ramanuja is the whole country, and hence, like Shankara, I think he avoided writing anything in Tamil. He wanted to reach out to everybody in the country, and therefore he didn't write anything in Tamil. And the next is, in the 1,000 years of history, starting from Ramanuja till today, Visishtadvaita has carved a niche for itself as an indispensable school of thought by withstanding the reputation of other schools, mainly Advaita and Dvaita. Many people have discussed about it. I am not going into the details how the debates have happened. I recently my book, Vedanta Without Maya, deals elaborately with this particular idea, and we had many here have participated in that seminar, and we have seen how Ramanuja and Shankara tradition and Ramanuja tradition are trying to talk to each other on a particular concept of Maya and Avidya. So in this millennial journey, 2 points deserve consideration. One, philosophy in practice and predilection, and dialectics refuting the views of other schools to establish the views of Bhagavat Ramanuja. The post-Ramanuja period has witnessed a large number of composition, both philosophical and dialectic. I am grateful to Dr. Vedavali Narayanan for giving me this idea that which I am speaking now. Dr. S.M.S. Chari, the well-known scholar of Vishishtadvaita, divides the period into 3 stages. The first one extending to 2 centuries after Ramanuja till the time of Vedanta Deshika and his senior contemporary Pillai Lokacharya. The second one covers their life period, and the third one to post-Desika for another 600 years. To this, we may add a fourth one extending up to the present day. During the first stage, a few successors of Ramanuja, especially his disciples, wrote glossaries on Ramanuja's works. Srivasya has elicited many commentaries. Much of the post-Ramanuja works were of the nature of commentaries in the Manipravala, which is Tamil interspersed with Sanskrit words and phrases. Many of them were commentaries on the works of Ramanuja and Yamuna. Some were also commentaries on the hymns of Alvars. Based on the above, there were some treatises too, Sruta Prakashika by Sudarsana Surya, an elaborate, unmatched and scholarly commentary on the Srivasya. I would like to say, friends, that in Ramanuja tradition, one thing that is happening, because it is one good thing that is happening here, is people still remember to their genealogy and the acharyas they belong to. Some people still remember their lineage to some particular acharya in that field, like Professor Venkatakrishnan comes from some Asuri, right? Who is that? Like that parampara you come from? Anandalva. Same is, there are many people who have such type of, like the memory is still afresh in many people, which is one of the advantage of this particular system, and that needs to be looked into seriously for the future researchers. And the next is Manavala Mamuni and Vedanta Deshika, and I don't want to speak more about it because I have a very long presentation. The 2 most important preceptors during the post-Ramanuja period, their life stories were shrouded with myths, and followers have created a distance between the above 2 and nurtured them jealously. That is another very, that should not have happened, but that has happened. Many history writers have written how Vedanta Deshika was tortured in Srirangam. Some people say Pillai Lokacharya was, so Manavala Mahamuni was also, they have created a distance between each other, and I would like to say their life stories, there are many attempts to bring in a synthesis. In the recent literature, many people have written that how there is a synthesis between Advaita and Vishishtadvaita. By having, Belakudi Varadarajacharya Swami, always he said, Advaita is Vishishtadvaita is an Advaita, essentially. So, there are many attempts to bring in a synthesis since Ramanuja stood for this Samanvaya. I have done some work on this. I am not able to present those things because of paucity of time. In spite of that, exclusivism continues with its merits and demerits. I don't want to talk more about it, but that is what is the scenario. Synthesis also continues, bringing all of them together, since the roots of Ramanuja's thinking are to give a feeling of oneness in the real world. Oneness in the real world. I always say, for Ramanuja, there is nothing which is not Vishnu. So, in some way, the Sarira-Sariri relation is the most important thing that Ramanuja is presenting to us philosophically. And Manavala Mamuni, he has several names. He is believed to be the incarnation of Adishesha and a reincarnation of Ramanuja. He was born in the wherever Alvar Tirunagari, and he did a lot of work. I don't want to get into all that because of, again, paucity of time. In popular Vaishnavism, Manavala Mamuni is considered as the founder of Tengali tradition, as much as Vedanta Desika is considered as the chief exponent of the Vadagali tradition. But in and through his works, Manavala Mamuni, one does not find any evidence to prove that he considered himself a proponent of a sectarian movement within the broad fold of Sri Vaishnavism. Professor Venkatakrishnan can give me more any clarification if he has, but I always felt that Manavala Mamuni, I have not read all the Tamil works still. I feel that there is nothing. I talk to many people, those who know the Prabandhas very well, but he has never propounded any sectarian movement within the broad fold of Sri Vaishnavism. His profound respect for all the Vaishnavas, his incapability to take any intra-Vaishnavite dispute, his encomiums for Deshika, and more than anything else, his philosophy of Vishnu Bhakti and Saranagati do not go well with Vadagali, Tengali, schism, and he would never have presided over such controversy as we find between these two schools today. And the next Acharya to whom I would like to give a reference is Ranga Ramanuja. On the basis of Akta Dikshita's date and that of the history of Parakala Math, we may fix the date of Ranga Ramanuja to around 1570 AD. Ramanuja wrote sum and substance of the Upanishads in a text called Vedartha Sangraha. In post-Ramanuja period, the commentary on Isha Upanishad was written by Deshika and Sudarsana Suri, the famous commentators of Sri Bhashya. He wrote commentary on Subala Upanishad, the minor Upanishad. In Sri Vaishnava tradition, it is Ranga Ramanuja who wrote commentaries on all the major Upanishads, because Ramanuja did not write the Bhashya on the Upanishads like Shankara did. So, and all other Upanishads, he seems to have written 60 works, and he is also known as Sashti Prabandha Nirmata. Then comes Mahacharya. Mahacharya was the author of Acharya Vimsati, also known as Vedanta Acharya Vimsati, and Dwadasa Prasa Vimsati, Chandamartha. Chandamartha is a commentary on Satadushani. I and Professor Raghavan has collected the manuscripts to edit it. We have not been able to do it, but that is one of the things that we are trying to do. Tatparya Prakashika, Sri Bhashya Upanyasa, most of the books are not printed. It is still in manuscript form, the Mahacharya, whatever he has written. There was a story about Mahacharya that he was engaged in a debate with Appaya Dikshita, and in that Appaya found out certain logical problems in Vishishtadvaita, and Mahacharya could not answer the questions immediately. In the night, Desika came in his dream and pointed out to him the solutions to these questions are there in the Satadushani, and by referring to those points, the next day Mahacharya won the debate. So many stories I have collected, I have no time to go through all that. His Guru Prasadana Vijaya deals with the philosophy of as well as the dialectics. Then the next one is the Kasturi Rangacharya, also known as Sri Rangasuri, was a disciple of Manavala Mamuni and was an important figure in Tengali school of Sri Vaishnavism. In two of his works, Karyadhikarana Vada and Karyadhikarana Tattva, he discusses the important difference between the two schools, depicting his support to Tengali school, which he preached and practiced. Then Srila Srinivasa was a disciple of Kaundinya Srinivasa Dikshita and was the son of Srinivasa Tatacharya. His writings were influenced by the writings of his elder brother Anvacharya, who wrote the Virodha Vanjini. Srila Srinivasa had a number of works to his credit. The important ones among those are Virodha Nirodha. Will you please? Yeah. Bheda Darpana, Advaita Vana Kuthara, Sara Darpana, Mukti Darpana, Jnanaratna Darpana, and Bheda Mani. Then another scholar of 18th century is Surapuram Srinivasacharya, who was patronized by Bihari Chinna Venkata, a chieftain of Surapuram in Andhra Pradesh in 18th century. His Tattva Martanda is a critical study of Sri Bhashya of Ramanuja. It is also entitled Chandrika Khandana. It is designed in a model of refuting all the claims of Dvaitin made in Tatpari Chandrika of Vyasarita. You know, this is all along happening. One, establishing their own views, Siddhanta Stapana, and refuting the others' views. So, the refuting Dvaita and Advaita, and some have taken Advaita to refute Advaita school for refutation, and some have taken Dvaita school for refutation. His Jigyasa Darpana, but all along we find their main concern for establishing Vishishta Advaita. You see, we cannot simply say that many think that Vishishta Advaita means largely refuting Advaita. I would not like to go with them. Vishishta Advaita has a very great tradition of philosophizing, establishing a view as with the Vishnu at the center. So you cannot just say that what Ramanuja was doing only was to refute all that the Shankara has told. So there are many texts in this way. The Nayadhyumani Deepika, this is also not being published, is a metrical works which refutes the views of the Shruti Shukti Mala of Haradatta. His other works were Nayamani Kalika, and that criticizes the view of that Pranava is the part of each sutra of the Brahma Sutra. That is what one of the Advaita scholars say, and he criticizes that because you don't find in sutras refuting Buddhism in Tarkapada that it has only Pranava as its essence. The another very important writer of Sri Vaishnava tradition is Srinivasa Dasa or Srinivasacharya, and he is the one who wrote the work Yatindra Vata Deepika, also known as Shariraka Paribhasa. It is one of the very important works, Yatindra Vata Deepika. All of us studied that when we start to study Vishishta Advaita. It is a wonderful work, and there are many commentaries on it, and most of the commentaries are still not published. In the introduction stanza, he establishes the indebtedness to the former Sri Vaishnava Acharyas, starting from Bodhayana to Mahacharya, and similarly, the epilogue carries a long list of works starting from Dramida Bhashya to Parasara Vijaya of Mahacharya. This is an evidence, friends, that Dramida Bhashya was available during 17th, 18th centuries. Now it is not available. Like it is not, we cannot find. Maybe Professor Divakar Acharya, who has found out Vachaspati Mishra's commentary on Mandana's Brahmasiddhi, right? And he will be able to find out, he works a lot about on manuscripts. And now from here I go to contemporary Vishishtadvaita Acharyas. One of the persons who taught me Vishishtadvaita was Mudambe Narasimhachari, and we miss him here today. Friends, all of us, like those who know him, know what a type of a scholar he was. So his great-grandfather's father was this gentleman called Mudambe Narasimhacharya from Andhra Pradesh, wrote quite a good deal in Telugu for the benefit of local devotees. In Sanskrit, he wrote commentary on Siddhitraya, Brahma Sutra, and 10 principal Upanishads. Srinivasa Sudhi, another one, also known as Srinivasacharya, wrote the Brahma Ajnana Nirasa. It is again the refutation of Maya Vidya of Advaitin. So, from the colophon of this work, it is clear that the author took part in the debate with Triambaka Bhatta or Triambaka Nayayika in the court of Krishna Raja Vaidiyar of Mysore. Raghunathacharya was the son of Vachyavrada, who wrote Lakshmiupayatva Samarthanam. This is a problem between Badagali and Tengali. I don't want to get into that. So, Sri Shaila Srinivasa, that is another scholar. Then one of the very important scholars of yesteryears is a Navalpakam Tatacharya Swami. and then Srinivasa Pattaracharya. Then another is V.K. Ramanuja Dasa, another one from Kanchipuram. See, the whole thing was going in between the north, that is Kanchipuram, south, that is Srirangam. That has become almost the world of Ramanuja, which is not how it is as far as Ramanuja is concerned. Ramanuja perceived the world as his like a home, and had the Karma Bhumi, whole of India, which he traveled twice. He has gone to all the parts of the country, including Nepal. You know, Salagramagiririm Nisebhya Ramate Ramanujo. Salagramagiri is there in Nepal. So, then I come to Prativadi Bhayankaram Anantacharya of Kanchi. He must be a forefather of Prativadi Bhayankaram Annankaracharya. So, I come to another scholar. Please go to the next one. Koliyalam Swami, in which tradition Dayanidhi comes. Among the latter day acharyas, one of the most erudite Vidwans is Koliyalam Swami, one of whose well-known disciple was Sri Uttamur Viraragha Acharya. I will come to him. So he has authored many books and all. His Upayukta Sangraha, right, has been translated into Tamil and English. He has been acclaimed with Abhinava Bhashyakara or modern Bhashyakara. Then Kapisthalam Desikacharya, Lakshmipuram Srinivasacharya, D.T. Tatacharya, on all these things I have collected a lot of material about all these people. Now I come to one of the legendary figures of our time, that is Prativadi Bhayankaram Annankaracharya. And Annankaracharya's life and legacy still continues, and it continues in Professor M.A. Venkatakrishnan, who was his prime disciple and who carries on his legacy till date. Prativadi Bhayankaram Annankaracharya was from Kanchipuram in Tamil Nadu, and he was known as Anna Swami. He strode like a giant in the world of Sri Vaishnava scholars. He wrote 1226, am I right? The number is correct? 1226 works. He says, see, Ramanuja, you said Navaratna. Saranagati Gadya is the smallest, right? Sorry, Srirangam Gadya is smallest, but Srivasya is the biggest, but Navaratna includes Srirangam Gadyam also. So similarly, all his writings, if you take into consideration, it comes to 1226 works. See the lifetime of a person, 82 years, it is unimaginable. His contribution to the Sri Vaishnava literature in the form of editions of rare works, commentaries and elucidations, independent treatises and monographs are quite unique both in the viewpoint of quality and quantity. On Vedic studies, he wrote Vedadhyana Sarvasvam and Yajurveda Siddhanjanam, which attracted the attention of all the scholars of that period. He collected all the scattered works of each of the Vaishnava acharyas and brought those in a series of publication called Bhagavat Ramanuja Granthamala, Vedanta Desika Granthamala, Varavara Munindra Granthamala. He wrote commentaries on almost all Divya Prabandhams and Rahasya works. He wrote Dramidopanishad Prabaha Sarvaswam in Sanskrit, Divya Prabandha Bhagavat Kathamritam and Divya Prabandha Divyartha Deepika in Tamil. His Sri Bhashya Saramritam is a summary of Sri Bhashya in Tamil. He has also written the Purvacharya Stotra Urigal, glosses on Sri Vachana Bhushanam, Acharya Hridayam and the Stotras in Chet Tamil language. He translated Divya Prabandham into Sanskrit and wrote many Stotras and independent Sri Vaishnava works. His other important works are Satasambada Khandanam, Sri Mahavishnu Samrajyam, Vishesartha Ratna Nidhi, Apurva Ramayanam, Sahasranama Ramayanam and many other texts. He edited 4 journals at a time and on Sri Vaishnava.